Kevin Hull, CEO of Emergent Waste Solutions. Our technology addresses 6 significant issues for our time. These issues begin with circular economy. Why circular economy? For the sake of our environment, diminishing raw materials, but also for increased GDP growth and increased job creation. The second significant issue of our time is clean energy. The market for clean energy, just about 900 billion in 2020, looking to do 1.1 trillion in 2030. Not only is it economically imperative that we be a part of this, but for the sake of the future of our planet, clean energy is significant. The third item, climate change. Not only is it really important that we address climate change for the continuation of our planet and life as we know it on the planet, but is also an economic imperative. In the US alone, 14.5 trillion will be lost in the next 50 years due to climate change. Conversely, we can look to gain 3 trillion over the next 50 years in the US if we address climate change. The next significant issue facing us today is that of our waste streams. We're literally being buried in garbage and crap, and this cannot go on. Plastics. Every week we're reading something new about plastics, microplastics being found in people, certainly plastics wreaking havoc with the oceans and our environments, our waterways. It's affecting the environment, our health, and our enjoyment of life. Now, soil rejuvenation is also a very significant matter for our times. Why? Because proper treatment of soil can impact positively on climate change, and it can impact also on food security, which is going to become an increasingly important matter. What does ATS do? Advanced Thermolysis System. It ties it all together. Looking first at circular economy. That residual waste in the circular economy picture currently is the waste streams that we want to get rid of. We can do that with ATS technology. We can process these waste streams and we can convert those waste streams into biochar and into clean energy. Biochar for the soils and filtration, clean energy to replace fossil fuels. We also deal with the plastics. We can process the plastics with our technology and produce a light diesel so we can reduce dependency on new sources of fossil fuels. As well, waste elimination. We can literally replace a landfill, and we have 25 municipalities around the world right now who have signed up with an intent to have us replace their landfills. Climate change, any of the waste materials that we process with our technology can reduce climate change emissions by between 30 and 35%. The emissions that would otherwise occur as these materials decomposed or biodegraded and gave off their greenhouse gases. So we tie it all together, and we do this with a parting thought. If we're going to make progress with sustainability, we have to accept the fact that many people are like Faust, and they will sell their planet to the devil in order to maintain their current standard of living. Until we give them a better choice and prove sustainability doesn't require sacrifice, we'll be fighting an uphill battle. As an example, with respect to the municipalities, because our technology is not just environmentally sustainable, but economically sustainable, we have a business model that returns profit from processing a municipality's garbage. We do not have to put the burden on the taxpayers in that municipality to purchase all this equipment to make this happen. That concludes the presentation. Those point forms address what Michael said. You should address these things. I would just correct a couple of things that I put in my summation that was just read to you before I started speaking. Our ask is between 100 and 500K. And if you engage with me after the presentation, I can explain why the range. As well, from the presentation, you see that we're not just a waste management company, we're a good deal more than that.
All right. Thank you so much, Kevin. That was really great and felt like a real wake-up call in terms of, paying attention to sustainable measures for, managing waste. My question is, can you give us an idea of what partnerships have looked like so far, or what kind of partnerships you're looking to pursue in terms of deploying this technology into the world, whether that's in North America or beyond?
Certainly can. A good example of partnership is John Yao, who is observing these presentations today and who connected with me when I did the last presentation in November. John and I have spoken, and he has the potential to utilize our biochar. So we will shortly be sending him 500 to 600 liters of biochar, which he will run tests with for a process that he's invented. And if things work out well, John could be a significant partner in what we're doing. So that's one example. Another example would be a municipality that is filling their landfill. They're going to have to come up with a solution. It costs approximately $20 million to build a new landfill. That municipality could come to us, save that 20 billion, and pay no more on an annualized outlay for managing their waste than they are today. Two examples: indoor growers, greenhouses. There are a tremendous number of potential users of the materials that we produce. We're also looking, in addition to the financing partner and the purchaser of our goods, we'd be looking for strategic partnerships to solve problems. For example, there's a large company in Brazil that is making second generation ethanol. They're ending up with lignin as a byproduct. They don't know what to do with it. There's no current solution. They can't put it in a landfill. And they've got 8,000 tons in inventory. We can process that lignin, and we can create clean energy, and out of that as well, we can create a bio oil.
Okay, thank you. One question here real quick. What are you raising the funds for?
Good. We're raising the funds to streamline our current operation. We have a commercial plant, and it works fine. There's a lot of manual labor right now that can be replaced with some automation. So we're looking to automate where we can. It is in Hope, BC, or 15 minutes out of Hope. So it's in a nice location weather-wise, but with climate change now, we're getting some radical weather in the area. We'd like to upgrade the building to make us a little more weatherproof. And then we need to do some marketing. We need to do some good marketing. We have already buyers for our carbon credits, which are significant. We are partnered on that location and on that project with the First Nation. It enhances the value of our carbon credits, but we need to do marketing on our biochar side. Those are the big items.
Okay, and what if you're planning to have an IPO? Does the ask stay the same, and how do those two events collide together?
Yeah, what we want to do with the IPO is we want to put ourselves in a position to build the next plant. We can show pro formas. We can demonstrate that those pro formas are based on actual operating knowledge. So they're more secure pro formas than what a company might normally have. But what we want to be able to do is take that pro forma and go to the market and raise funds to build that particular plant, to build that project. So the lignin project is an example of that. That will be a project that's going to be in excess of $50 million. And so we want to be able to raise significant amounts of money in the marketplace. And we want to be introduced to debt financiers who care about environment and who will take on that kind of project. Is BC
Okay.
at commercial capacity? We're not yet at commercial capacity with that plant. We've just done several infrastructure upgrades there that will enable us to increase our productivity and get to commercial capacity. We're scaling up beginning this week. In fact, Thursday is our first step on the scaling, and we'll be scaled up by, we think, the beginning to the end of summer. So we'll be a 24/7 operation.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Christy Pierce. Okay, let me just grab that.
Okay, Kevin, great
Email.
work, and we'll leave that chat space open to respond to, but just I want to thank you again for pitching a couple times in the past year. You've made a huge amount of progress. What's one thing that you'd really like help with in terms of advice? Maybe marketing, was it? Or what would be the key thing in terms of an advisor? It's great that John has helped out as well. Is there any kind of hole in your team right now that you want to fill?
I think what we need in particular is how, I guess marketing advice, yes, how to penetrate some of these industries that have a challenge, they've got a problem, but particularly in Canada, people seem to be very, very risk adverse. If we haven't done it that way for the last 5 or 10 years, then we don't want to do it. So introductions into municipalities would be terrific. That would be really good. Advice on how to penetrate these markets.